Now, you say to me, Tony, that's just the regular everyday talking point that the media can't be trusted and the media is not on your side and the media is pushing narrative as opposed to facts. Well, in the case of Israel and the attack from the terrorist organization Hamas that murdered 1,400 people, that set people on fire, that raped women, that kidnapped babies, that kidnapped the elderly. When it comes to this, yes, I think it's very obvious that the media has taken sides, and certainly there's the conversation regarding this hospital where 500 people have, according to the reporting, have been killed, and people want to say, my gosh, Israelis targeted a hospital. That's not the case. So why didn't anybody wait for the data? That right there is Noah Rothman. You know his work over at National Review. He's the author of Unjust Social Justice and the Unmaking of America and the Rise of the New Puritans, fighting back against progressives' war on fun. We have had a series of conversations over the years. Noah, we have things that we agree with and things that we disagree with. But when it comes to this, starting with this story right here about this attack on a hospital, where immediately it was about blaming Israel for the attack, and the New York Times did it best. The headline changed 3 different times, starting with Israeli strike kills hundreds in hospital, then at least 500 dead in strike on Gaza Hospital, and then finally ending up with at least 500 dead in blast at Gaza Hospital. Your piece over at National Review, I read the headline, "The hospital bombing lie is a terrible sign of things to come." How did they get to this place, Noah?
You have to have experienced it in real time to really get a full sense of how excited the press was by the prospect, the rejuvenating, the comforting prospect of being able to retreat to the notion that Israel too is prosecuting war crimes here. If you're a New York Times subscriber, you got an alert on your phone within minutes of the revelation from the Gaza Health Ministry that this strike supposedly occurred. There's no justification for anyone taking at face value the word of the Gaza Health Ministry, a Hamas-run organization that inexplicably produces exquisitely accurate numbers, figures, casualties, all of which are attributable to Israeli military action within seconds of any military action. It's a notoriously unreliable actor, as are a lot of terrorist operatives. And I remember talking to my colleagues that morning about what happens in these conflicts if you have any familiarity with them. Hamas rockets, Islamic Jihad rockets, are rudimentary steel tubes that routinely fail, routinely go off course, often fall on civilian targets inside Syria and Gaza. And the casualties that they produce, they are immediately attributed to Israel. So you can't take the word of this institution at face value. If you have any familiarity with, I don't know, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which if you're a person who's been alive for more than 20 years on this planet, should have at least an elementary sense of it. And you certainly shouldn't be reporting on it if you're not. Then you should respond to this sort of information with some skepticism. They raced right out of the gate in order to demonstrate that there's a moral equivalence here. We can't really be choosing sides in this conflict. We can't say, Israel's just the pure victim here, that the slaughter of 1,500 civilians, women, children, the abduction of elders, as you said, the attack on Americans, 30 dead Americans, the worst terrorist attack on Americans in years. All of this is just sort of along a continuum of evil, of which Hamas maybe exists here, Israel really exists there. Who are we to judge?
So allow me to take a bit of a side tangent. Gad Saad had put on Twitter X that what people are experiencing, it's been said different ways. I just like the way he said it in this one. Not that I would agree with him on everything, but I thought this was astute. People are experiencing what he calls AOC, and he doesn't mean Representative Ocasio-Cortez. He means amnesia of causality. Everything regarding what's happening, this war in Israel, from the media side, certainly from the university side, and I'd love your take on that, is about what Israel has done in response. And they have forgotten that there are 30 dead Americans. They've forgotten that there are American hostages. There are 199 hostages, and that number could be more. There's 1,400 dead Israelis and others who were murdered for going to a concert. the media playing purposeful in that forgetfulness, is that an acceptable statement in your eyes?
Absolutely. What you describe is this sort of intellectual corruption, a tendency that you see among people who are sharp enough to know exactly what they're doing, to invert cause and effect, to attribute to effect the cause of a particular action. So Israel's response to a genocidal act, the worst murder of Jews in one day since the Holocaust, is in fact the cause of that event. If you abstract it out, you end up, you look at these people as statistics, and you reduce the agency of the individuals responsible to it. You make them into automatons that are just carried along on the tides of history. This is a sort of rationalization process that you need to work yourself through in order to divorce yourself from the humanity of the situation, to make yourself into an absolute ghoul that is just that obsessively forcing reality into a series of intellectual frameworks that are designed to help you understand your environment, end up doing the exact opposite, end up obscuring your environment, making your capacity to understand your surroundings and our shared reality unintelligible to the uninitiated observer. This had profound consequences. This lurch to take Hamas's version of events at face value is a real problem now. The streets are alive with riots in Europe and the Middle East. American diplomatic facilities are under siege